Yo, what's up? It's your boy Marwin from Fidelity. Today I'm going to show you how to make an incredible, easy, delicious beef and vegetable stew. But yo, this ain't your typical beef, potatoes, carrots, and celery, old school style beef stew. This is some of that new jack stuff that's bursting with flavor. It's a fusion of Southern, Caribbean, and believe it or not, some Asian flavors. Let me show you. I start things off by making the tomato sauce base, which is kind of the star of the story, if you will. Most beef stews use your typical tomato paste or puree tomatoes, but I saw this as an opportunity to level things up a bit, so your boy went that extra on this step by pureeing tomatoes with Asian pears, red onions, sweet peppers, plus some Caribbean Scotch bonnet pepper love, or you can use habanero. The heat is removed, no doubt, to keep this mild, so don't worry. Though the peppers are present, you get their flavor minus that fire heat. I can set this aside and then start to work on my key ingredients. I got sweet potatoes, I got okra, I got beef. Go with the chuck roast over stew meat. You never know what quality you're going to get with stew meat, and it's worth the extra effort to buy guaranteed quality and then cut it yourself. Cut these up into chunks small enough to chew without cutting, but big enough to maintain that structure during the long cooking time. Cut them as uniform as possible so they cook evenly. You don't want half sweet potatoes hard and then the other half soft. It's not a good look. For the beef, you want to trim away any excess fat. Though that fat is great for adding flavor to the dish, it makes for a not so good chewing and eating experience, if you will. One trick I learned is to keep the meat partially frozen. It makes for cutting easier. Just be sure that after cutting, you let the meat reach room temperature before you cook. Again, you want your ingredients to cook evenly. Season the beef well. Keep it simple as salt and pepper, if you will. Or do like I do, perhaps, and use a pre-mixed homemade mix of paprika, salt, pepper, allspice, which for me is an all-purpose one, since I do a lot of Caribbean and Southern cooking. That allspice is the Caribbean look. Give the meat a good browning to seal in that flavor and make that exterior shine with that dark caramelized look. You want to brown on all sides over medium heat. Depending on the size of your pot and the amount of beef you're cooking with, you might have to brown in batches. No sweat, no problem. Just allow the brown meat to drain on a paper towel lined bowl or plate. After browning, remove the meat, set aside, and start to build your stew, starting with that base, that crazy tomato concoction we made earlier. Add a full body red wine, which will provide much needed depth here. The beef broth will give additional beefy flavor, and that soy sauce, more Asian vibes that we talked about, will give additional savory umami boost for a bit of complexity. I use a low sodium soy. Actually, I go low sodium for pretty much any prepackaged ingredients I'm using because they all add salt since they come with just a lot of salt in general. So be mindful of your salt content. You can always taste the finished product at the end and just adjust. You know, if you feel like it needs more salt, you can add more salt at the end. It's just a lot easier to do that on the end as opposed to trying to take salt out. You'll notice me seasoning a lot as I go with a few sprinkles at each step. I just measure everything out ahead of time and then add a little here and there for each step. This gives kind of a layering effect of flavor while also ensuring I got a real well-seasoned dish. I like the combo of bay leaf and thyme. I'm big on adding green elements to my recipes, especially those requiring long cooking times like a stew or a braise. They lighten things up a bit, add some aroma and some flavor. Once your liquid ingredients have had time to gel and come together, you're ready to add the beef and vegetables. They will bathe in that slow simmer of goodness, adding their own contribution to the dish while also absorbing, that deliciousness from the liquid. The key ingredients require different cook times, so you'll want to cook these in phases. The beef will take the longest, so it'll require a bit of a head start, followed by the sweet potatoes. Lastly, the okra, which requires a shorter cooking time. If you're worried about the slime factor, don't be. The cook time and the temperature will take care of that. Plus, the okra will have the added benefit of thickening things up a little bit. Even still, if it's not as thick as you want it, you can make a slurry using a teaspoon of cornstarch mixed well with some cold water, then add it to that stew liquid before mixing things together all in a pot. I braise at around 325 degrees in the oven, but you can also cook this on the stove top, just at a very slow, low simmer. Give your meat the old poke test for checking tenderness. For me, I serve mine with my favorite bread of choice. In this case, cornbread, but you can use other breads as well. That's it. If you like the dish, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. But most importantly, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button to get new recipes weekly when I post them. Thanks for vibing with me. I hope you enjoyed the dish. Definitely continue to come back and check out new and different recipes on a whole different vibe. Thanks. Peace out. See you next time.